Week 6 had some big surprises, some notable things happened, so let's take the time now to take a look back at the week that was, kicking off with Thursday night action. The New England Patriots, not surprisingly, forced 3 Daniel Jones interceptions. They do more than enough to easily hold off the Giants, 35-14. Transitioning to the Sunday games, going to the London action. Tally-ho! Jameis Winston had 6 turnovers because reasons. Kyle Allen stays undefeated as the starter of the Carolina Panthers. Panthers win their 4th in a row, 37-26. Baker Mayfield, transitioning over to the 1 o'clock games on Sunday, throws 3 interceptions again. Seattle does enough. Russell Wilson leads the comeback, and here are the Seahawks, one of the best teams in football nobody's talking about, beating the Browns on the road 32-28. Carlos Hyde had a big day for the Houston Texans and helped spearhead the charge, leading the Texans over the Chiefs in Arrowhead 31-24 in a bit of a surprise. By God, the Dolphins tried to blow it. They really, really tried to blow it. They tried to blow it. But thankfully for them, at the end of the day, that 2-point conversion attempt to win it, the Dolphins creeped up again. The Redskins, behind interim head coach Bill Callahan and Terry McLaurin's 100 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, hold off the Miami Dolphins in the Tank Bowl 17-16. Kirk Cousins is having a little bit of resurgence here the past couple of weeks. He went off for 333 yards and 4 touchdowns, and the Minnesota Vikings easily dispatched the Philadelphia Eagles 38-20. The Saints seem to have figured out at least some of the tricks and the illusions of Minshew magic, being able to do just enough on the road in Saxonville to beat the Jags 13-6. Lamar Jackson, not bad for a quarterback, 152 rushing yards on the ground, leads the Ravens over the Bengals 23-17. The 49ers defense dominates yet again, this time making Jared Goff and the Rams offense their bitch. They are taking firm control of that division and leaving the Rams in the rearview mirror. 49ers stay undefeated, win 22-7. Cardinals and Falcons was a lot closer than it probably should have been. It was interesting till the very end. Matt Bryant's missed extra point, though, made the difference. Cardinals held off the Falcons 34-33 to get their 2nd straight win. The Broncos defense dominates. They ended the Marcus Mariota era effectively. In comes Ryan Tannehill, but it didn't make a difference. Broncos beat the Titans, shut them out 16-0. Sam Darnold returns. No mono for you. And the Jets respond at home late Sunday afternoon, jumping out to a 21-3 lead over the Dallas Cowboys. Managed to hold them off and win 24-22 for their first victory of the season. Meanwhile, that's the 3rd consecutive loss for the Dallas Cowboys. And here comes the yearly, why does Jason Garrett still have a job in the NFL talk? The Steelers jumped out behind Devlin Hodges, of all people, to a 24-0 first half lead, and they did enough to hold on in the second half and beat the Chargers 24-17. And now the Chargers, a team that you probably had playoff thoughts with before the season, are now sitting at 2-4, and you're wondering what the hell's going on. Aaron Rodgers and some favorable penalties from the referees helped the Packers to get a last-second victory over those poor Detroit Lions 23-22. So that was a look at the game action. Now let's talk about some winners and losers. Winners, I got to go first, the Houston Texans. You know, for a team that, because of Bill O'Brien, I'm never really all that sold on, they went into Kansas City in the battle of Watson versus Mahomes, and they won. And it had in large part to do with their running game, of all things. That was a big win for the Houston Texans. For a division that is just screaming for somebody to jump up and take it, the Texans are doing their part to try and take it right now. I got to give my love to the San Francisco 49ers as well. You're talking about a team that's now 5-0, talking about a team that just spanked the Rams, just spanked them on Sunday. Now the Rams are sitting there at 3-3. They're 3 games back, plus the 49ers have a tiebreaker. Right now, that divisional race is going to be very fascinating between the 49ers and the Seahawks, because it damn sure looks like the Rams are just about done. But if you're the 49ers, you know, you're winning behind that great defense, and they're wreaking havoc all over the damn place. Last remaining unbeaten team in the NFC, and it might stay that way for a couple of weeks still. And then the Miami Dolphins. Sometimes you win by losing, and by God, they tried to screw it up. By God, they tried to screw the pooch. But ultimately, they got the job done. They lost. And if you're going to tank as clearly and obviously as this team has been trying to do all year, you better damn make sure you've got the number 1 overall pick. Because otherwise, what the hell was the point? Dolphins lose. They stay the course. They stay on track. They stay on the path. They have a shot at that number 1 overall pick. Now, the losers, you got to look at the top 2 players taken in the 2015 draft. Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. All those times we sat there a few years back arguing Winston's clearly better or Mariota's better. Like I was in the Mariota's better camp. A lot of other people were in the Winston's better camp. The reality is it doesn't freaking matter because they both suck. And they were both busts. And we were all wrong. Unless you said both of them were going to be bust, then in that case you're right and I salute you. But Mariota getting benched for Tannehill. Jameis Winston. 6 turnovers. My God, who'd have ever seen this coming? The Los Angeles Chargers. You're facing a Steelers team playing, what, a 3rd or 4th string quarterback? And you go down 24-0 on Sunday night? Yeah, you're 2-4 and basically your season is done. And then the Dallas Cowboys. They start off 3-0. Then you could say, well, they actually started playing good teams then in the Saints and the freaking Packers. But this week, you can't even say that. Yeah, it was a road game, but the Jets were winless. And they go out there and they basically laid an egg again in the first half. Dallas is sitting there talking about them being a contender, and I've been talking about them being a contender. They're 3-3, and you have to wonder what the hell's going on with them. The top performers of the week, Kirk Cousins. Got to give Kid Cousins credit, 333 yards and 4 touchdowns. You know, the Vikings needed to get more out of their passing game in the last 2 weeks. He has really responded. Carlos Hyde, 116 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown, helped lead the Texans over the Chiefs on the road. Stephon Diggs in that victory over the Eagles, 7 receptions, 167 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He had a big game at the tight end position. A lot of it came in garbage time, I grant you, but still, Hunter Henry for the Chargers, 8 receptions, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He still had a big day. If you had him on fantasy, obviously it helped you a lot. And then in terms of defense and special teams, I look at the Denver Broncos. 3 interceptions, 7 sacks, booting Mariota from the game, no points allowed. Like, that's the type of performance you would expect from a Vic Fangio coach defense, and they got it this past Sunday. And now let's bring it all home with the 2-minute drill. There's so many things I could talk about this week. I'm just going to talk about this really quickly. As much as we think we all know, and I'm certainly guilty of this too, it's crazy that once you start playing the games, how much things change. The Dallas Cowboys might be a contender. They're a balanced and complete team. They've lost 3 straight. They're 3-3. The Los Angeles Rams, coming off of last year's Super Bowl appearance. Is it a Super Bowl hangover or Super Bowl loser's curse? Well, I don't know, but they don't look good right now. Gurley might be done. The offensive line is not playing well. That defense stinks, and Jared Goff, good God almighty. The Rams are 3-3, coming off of an ass-kicking at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers. The Cleveland Browns, they bring in Odell Beckham Jr. Baker Mayfield's going to make huge strides in year number 2, and all that crap ain't happened. The Browns are 2-4, and Baker's a freaking bust right now. Bust. Yes, there's time to change it, but he's a bust right now. Pathetic. The Philadelphia Eagles, another team that a lot of people are very high on, they're 3-3. And they just got smoked by the Vikings. The Chargers, in a division where a lot of people thought the Chiefs might take a step back and they might win, are freaking sitting there now, and they're damn 2-4. 2-4. 2-4. They've got a future Hall of Fame quarterback. They're supposed to have a running game. They're supposed to have all this talent on defense, and they are 2-4. How in the hell does that even happen? How does that happen? So it just goes to show you, as much as we think we know a lot of times, once the games start, we find out we really don't know a damn thing.